When learning jazz, we tend to get preoccupied with notes. Learning our major scale and our chord tones and passing tones is a full-time job in itself, and keeping a running tally of what we're supposed to be playing often takes precedence over how we're playing it. And by how, I mean rhythm. Yes, despite the fact that jazz is a genre that can probably be most characterized by its rhythm rather than its harmony, I frequently see rhythm taking a backseat to melody and harmony in new jazz guitarists. And I understand why. Jazz rhythm, i.e. swing, can feel unnatural to us at first, particularly if we come from a rock background. So in this lesson, we'll focus on the concept of swing and see how we can practice it in our daily exercises so it doesn't feel left out. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Tim, and I teach guitarists who are inspired to learn and who have limited time to practice between work and family obligations. This channel is all about distilling the concepts of jazz guitar into the most clear and simple steps so that you can make progress with even a small amount of daily practice. If this sounds good to you, give us a follow and watch on. Aside from playing too many notes, one of the key characteristics of identifying fresh jazz guitarists is to hear how they swing, or rather, how they don't swing. They may have nailed that 7-flat-9 arpeggio on the 5 chord, but their telltale rigidity in their rhythm is a dead giveaway that they still have much to work on. To avoid sounding like a square in a room full of circles, let's begin by identifying what exactly we mean by swing. The concept of swing has to do with how jazzers view eighth notes, or more importantly, how they play and feel eighth notes. Most of us will remember that a bar of 4/4 contains 4 quarter notes. Using the magic of basic fractions, each of these quarter notes can be divided down into 8 eighth notes, and they look like this. If we play a bar of typical eighth notes along to a metronome and give each eighth note its designated value relative to the underlying quarter notes, it will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. This is how eighth notes are typically played in classical music, pop, and rock music. We call this playing straight, but jazz is different. Instead of playing straight, we swing. The key to swinging is how you play and feel these eighth notes in particular. In jazz, instead of viewing the relationship between quarters and eighths in a purely mathematical way, we think of each quarter note as being broken down into a set of eighth note triplets. Now, what is a triplet, you might ask? Well, a triplet is a grouping of 3 notes that's played in the space normally occupied by 2 notes. In order to fit 3 eighth notes into the space of the usual pair, we have to count them a little bit faster, and each of the notes will get a little less space under the umbrella of its quarter note. If we were to count our 4 sets of eighth note triplets in a bar of 4/4, this is what they would sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Triplet, 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 triplet. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the swing feel begins with thinking about eighth notes in sets of 4 triplets instead of sets of 4 pairs. Now here's the crucial detail about swinging. Even though we're now cramming 1 extra eighth note into the middle of our pair, we aren't going to play it. We'll only play the first and third notes in the triplet while still counting the second in our heads. This is what gives the eighth notes in jazz that swung or lazy feel. Here's what that sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Triplet, 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 triplet. Now compare the difference between playing eighth notes straight, the usual way, and playing them swung, using our first and third notes from the triplet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and triplet, 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 triplet. We're now going to apply this feel to a short phrase in order to get the hang of it. At first, try to really exaggerate the feel of a slight lag between the downstroke and the upstroke of your pick. The lick we're going to play is this. Up at the 9th fret, the G string, I'm going to walk down 3 frets. Then I'm going up to the 7th note of the B string. followed by jumping back down to the G string and down 1 fret. So we've got now I'm going to grab the D string at the 9th fret with my pinky finger, move down to the 7th fret of the D string with my middle finger, and then taking my index, I'm going to play the 5th fret, sliding up to the 6th fret of the D string. Now these are all swung 8th notes, and if you play the lick together, it sounds like this. Let's try this together. First, if we play it straight. Now if we swing it. Now let's try this several times playing slowly over a backing track. If we play this lick, or our 8th notes in general, with strict alternate picking beginning on a downstroke, it means the strong 8th note at the beginning of our triplet will get the downstroke, and the second weaker sounding note at the end of the triplet will get the upstroke. This also adds to the feel. We still want to focus on maintaining consistency with our alternative picking so that there's not a huge difference in volume or tone between the down and the upstrokes, but having that upstroke play the weaker beat in the triplet feels great as we play. Now let's try another short phrase and play in a swing feel along to a backing track. This phrase is taken from the F major scale and outlines the 2, 5, and the 1 chords. Here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here are the notes. Starting on the 10th fret of the E string, we play D. We're going to outline this little G minor 7 arpeggio coming down B string at the 11th fret, B string at the 8th fret, and 10th fret of the G string. So we've got. Now we get to our C7 chord, and we're going to go down to the 3rd of C, which is E. We're going to jump across the B string to the E string and grab the flat 9 of C. So we're playing C sharp there. And we're going to come down to our root and our 7. So we're going. And finally landing on the 3rd of our F chord, which is this A. So the whole phrase. And it's all alternate picking as we play. Let's try it together. Remember to try to count the triplets in your head initially as you play. A good way to phrase them to yourself would be 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E. Now, how did that feel? For some of us, it would have been more intuitive than for others, but it's important to practice that, or at least keep the swing feel in mind as you're practicing. You can utilize the same feel as you practice your scales, arpeggios, and guide tone exercises so it becomes deeply ingrained in your ear and your wrist. By the way, this triplet feel works well for slow to medium tempos, but for fast tunes, we tend to go back to playing our eighth notes in the usual straight way. This is mostly because faster tempos give us very little time to be able to articulate the swing feel when playing eighth notes. So for you players new to jazz and wondering about the feel, I hope this explanation goes some way to making you feel more comfortable swinging. No matter what you play, from scales to solos to chords, make sure you incorporate the triplet feel. Your playing will sound much easier and much more authentic. Take care, jazzers, and if you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe for more helpful tips.